Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bound to Talk Football. I'm your host, Blake Walker. Paul Erridge is next to me. It is Wednesday when we're recording this, Wednesday night, but it will come out Thursday. Expect our preview episode to be out on Friday morning. So, yeah, we're just rolling along, but Paul missed our midweek last week. Good to have him in this one. We went and asked questions on our social media, and everybody delivered it. We got some decent questions, some decent takes that we're going to read, and Paul and I are going to talk about them a little bit, and we'll just kind of run through it. Let's think. Is there any big news that has come out this week that's big? When does the Kennedy guy, what's his name? I can't think of his name.
Nick Brooks?
He commits on Friday. Is that correct?
Friday. Yep.
Do you have any prediction of where he goes?
I don't think I can say my prediction.
I'm going to say Alabama.
All right. There you go.
I love Iowa. I don't think it's going to be Iowa, but I think either Alabama or Georgia. Good for him, though. I was talking to Zelenovich today of Southeast Polk for something with CISN, and he said it's so cool because at one point on Saturday, there were 5 nationally televised games with Southeast Polk players playing. It's so cool. It's just so cool to see these guys out doing this. So that's really cool. I was trying to think of any injury news. I know there was a kid from Linmar. What did you got?
Keaton Roscott.
Yeah, from Linmar. He is out for the season. Quarter down harder, foot injury for Linville Sully. I believe he's out for the season. That's a big loss for Linville Sully. And yeah, I haven't heard anything about Valley's quarterback, Caleb Jewell. I was actually going to try to DM him on Instagram and be like, are you okay? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, that's the cool thing about doing midweek. If we miss anything, we'll catch up with it. The weather's finally nice, like beautiful weather today. I know, but that's okay because it felt like fall. Now it's going to warm up just a little bit on Friday. But yeah, speaking of Friday, we got plenty of great games. We'll talk about them on our preview episode. We have a couple more photographers this week who decided to jump on board. I don't have the games in front of me, but they're going to a lot of different games. So we're excited to keep having these guys on and whatnot. So yeah, that's all I got for our intro. So I guess we'll just jump right into our questions/takes. If you want, you can send in questions on YouTube, Twitter, DM us or something, or the easiest way is when we put out on our Instagram story that we're going to have questions or whatever. And that's where we got these. So we're going to start out with the first question from our boy Lukey Pookie 2.0. Shout out to Lukey Pookie 2.0.
Love the name.
How do you feel about Roosevelt's performances so far, and do they have a chance against Northwest? Paul, I'll let you go first.
So far, Roosevelt's playing great. Obviously, 2-0 record against teams I think for the most part everyone expects them to beat. Des Moines, Lincoln, and Tumwa, sorry. Jakari's playing great. We don't have full stats, right, with them.
No, we don't have any defensive stats for them.
Sucks. But hey, great start. If you're looking for playoffs for them, I'm about to actually pull up their schedule right now. As for do they have a chance against Washington Northwest, I think it's kind of a big ask to say for them to beat them, mainly because I think just ground and pound wise, offensive line wise, Washington Northwest is better. But they did just come off a huge emotional win. You can see kind of a hangover game after that. It is at Washington Northwest, though. So, yeah, it's tough.
I think I like this Northwest team. I think Northwest has been Northwest. I think Roosevelt's been the best Des Moines school the last couple of years, just overall. I mean, just consistently. Are they going 7-2? No, but they're 6-3, 5-4. I mean, those are good for those Des Moines schools that are getting better. I The 2 wins over Lincoln and Tumwa, good. I think Lincoln's better than I think a lot of people give them credit for. I think the Des Moines schools are better this year than they have been in recent years. Ja'Cory Patton is on a whole nother level. Like, it's just good for them that they have a quarterback that can run the ball and he can also pass. It's not my upset of the week, but I think it's very possible that they could beat Northwest. I think it has to be perfect. I think they really have to play a great game all across the board. But overall, I feel that Roosevelt could be that 16th or 15th team that sneaks into the postseason.
Yeah, just looking at their schedule, I probably have them going 5-4, and that kind of comes down to just how the rest of the landscape plays out. There'll be a
Read
bubble
off
team.
the rest of their schedule.
So their schedule goes at Waukee Northwest this Friday, and then home against Ames the next week, Dowling the next week, and then Sioux City North, Centennial, Waukee, and then Des Moines East. I think Ames is their biggest game of the year in terms of they have to win that, which to make the playoffs. Because getting a win against one of those 4 schools that I'm kind of predicting them to lose, Waukee Northwest, Dowling, Centennial, and Waukee, it's gonna be a big ask.
If they can take one of those, that's big. But I think I get to call that Thursday night game against Dowling. So that's pretty cool. But no, they're an interesting team. I like them. I think they're going to be good. So I think Paul and I are both agreeing. Lukey Pookie 2.0. I think Roosevelt's ceiling 8, or ceiling is 7-2, floor 5-4. Honestly, so it's possible. I think they'll be pretty fun to watch. So thanks for the question. We got a take here by Ben_Miss Derek. I think from his profile picture, I think he plays for Pella. He's going to say Pella upsets Indianola. That's his hot take. First of all, yes, it would be an upset. Can we talk about Pella for a second? Because I grew up in the little Hawkeye Conference. I went to Grinnell, as everybody knows. I didn't like Pella. Like, Pella beat us and everything. And I was thinking about it the other day. Pella football, clearly dominant. Had a legendary 47-game winning streak, something like that. That was broken by DCG a couple years. I will go on a limb and say that as a proud Grinnell fan, a couple years ago, I think it was the COVID year, 2020, when Grinnell beat Pella in the playoffs 6-0 in the round of 16. I think that was the dead stop end to the Pella dynasty. So I will give Grinnell credit for putting the nail in the coffin on the Pella dynasty for now. They have not been great the last couple of years, but this year, a little bit of upside. They have a sophomore running back, which is really helpful. Their win is over Keokuk. Their loss is to Ballard. Indianola beat Urbandale, lost to Norwalk. This Indianola team, though, very good. Norwalk's pretty good. Almost beat Norwalk. I like the take. I don't think Indianola loses to Pella.
I'm going to have to stick with that as well. But I would say if it was a home game for Pella, I'd be a little more into it. But the fact they're going to Indianola, I think, rattles me a little bit with that take.
Do you agree that it's different? Pella's just not at what they were, for that time. They dominate. Like, it's amazing, but high schoolers nowadays might not truly realize how dominant Pella was in football, because now they've won a state basketball championship. They're by far and away the best track and field teams in the state, both men's and women's, cross country. But literally, they were football. Like, there was Pella and there was Xavier, and we all remember. Well, you might not remember, but the Pella Xavier championship game, that was one of the greatest championship games we've ever seen. So it's there. But go Dutch. I say that as a Grinnell fan. Get back on track. Indianola is a good team, man. I think they'll be pretty fun to watch. Will Palmer. I'm pretty sure Will's from Nevada, if I had to guess. I think he's from Nevada, so he didn't like Harlan if he's from Nevada. He says Glenwood beats Harlan. I'm with you. I don't think this is really a hot take. I think Glenwood realistically is favored in this game.
I'd be interested to see BC Moore's spread on it, even though it's a rough draft of a spread, so it's not like insanely accurate. But I would have, if I were making spreads, I would definitely have blanking. Oh yeah, Glenwood favored over Harlan.
I just feel like I don't think it's home. It might be a home game for Glenwood. I don't know. I'm sad because I don't get to go and watch Harlan. I guess I could go watch him on the streams, but I don't get to see Harlan a lot, so I don't know what they have this year. I know nothing jumps off the page statistically, but I mean, Glenwood's very good, man. And after you've been beat for a couple of years by Harlan, you're like, dude, we just want to beat him. I feel bad for this Harlan team in a way because they have a target on their back, and most of the players that put that target on their back are gone. So it's what's left over. What do you got? What's the BCM spread on it?
3.5 for Harlan.
Really?
I'd take Glenwood to cover that and win.
Yeah. I would too.
Yeah. No, I think Glenwood gets it done, but I mean, we can't act like Harlan's like washed, but we just
we can't, and that's the thing. Like I said, Harlan can make it to the dome. Like, doubt it. The spreads remind me we should totally do a super dog segment, like College Game Day does.
What's that? What's that? Super dog.
Well, they do the spreads. Like they go in each one on the desk. So they take like a spread, and you try to take the spread that's favored for the other team and be like, I'll take North Texas +5, whatever. I'll have to do more research into it, but I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. So Will Palmer, I think you're right. Glenwood will beat Harlan. It's not a hot take, but it's a lukewarm take.
Wow. I just hate to interrupt, but on that dog, I would have the lock. Where I'm going to talk. There's just a spread that's wild on there.
Oh, who's it against? Perry?
No, it's the game I'm talking about later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Harlan plays Perry later this year. That might not be fun, but okay. Tyler Blauvelt, something like that. He says Williamsburg defeats CCA. We agree, but not by much. He says 28-21. So here's the thing. I agree with the whole Williamsburg, could be slow to start off the win against Xavier. But this is a Clear Creek Amana team that put up 3 points last week against Solon. And what was the stat, Paul? They only ran for like 2.3 or only 2.3 yards per play or something like that.
Yeah.
I jumped on the Williamsburg bandwagon. I don't think this will be close. I think it's a good spot to get CC, or a good spot for CCA to get Williamsburg. I just don't think I've seen enough out of CCA to think that it'll be close.
No, I'm 100% with you. I think Williamsburg, defensively, they're just going to be, how are they going to score?
It was amazing talking with Tyler about that Williamsburg Xavier game. He was more impressed with Derek Wieskop on defense than he was offense. Like he's like, well, Derek's great on wide receiver, but he's like, as a linebacker, he's like, he is unbelievable. So I'm like, all right, so I don't know. That's the tough team. So yes, I think Williamsburg beats CCA. I don't think anyone's picking CCA in that, but I don't know if it'll be close. We'll see. Again, we are the poster children of the bulletin board material. So if Williamsburg wants to use this or if CCA wants to use this as bulletin board material, go ahead. Thanks for the question, Tyler. Let's go Riley_Graber. Thoughts on Nevada versus PCM. We'll talk about it a little bit more in our preview. This game would be higher up on my list if it wasn't for PCM's loss last week. Granted, it was in double overtime. I'll stick with what I said on Monday. This Nevada team, I think, is the best Nevada team we've seen the last couple of years. I think, once again, you're going to see 30-plus points and not a lot of points for PCM.
I'm with you. I like Nevada in this one. Me and you have been riding the Nevada train after kind of week one.
You got to say Nevada. They're gonna be really mad.
Nevada? I'm so sorry. defense. But
yeah.
I agree.
I will ride the Nevada train this year. I mean, I have the last couple of years.
I mean, I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah,
I think wash.
I don't know, man. That defense,
The wash.
that's a good defense. I don't know. We'll have to see. Case._Coleman simply said kickers, please. I've wanted to hear this so bad. I think he means talk about kickers more because we haven't talked about kickers. So you know what, Case? We're going to talk about some kickers. I went up and grabbed our top statistical leaders in kicking. I didn't grab our punts. So Paul might want to go grab some punting stats real quick. But let me run through you some kickers if that's what you want. So shout out Luke Wright from East Sac County. He is 5 for 5 on field goals this year. No idea where he's kicking them, but he's 5 for 5 on field goals this year. Billy Moore from Assumption is 4 of 5 on field goals this year. Sebastian Contreras out of Denison Schleswig currently holds the longest field goal out of anyone this season. He hit a 46-yard field goal. Thomas Steele of Columbus Catholics hit a 45-yarder. And Giovanni Cabongo from Lamar's hit a 45-yard field goal. So shout out to those guys kicking and doing great stuff. Paul, you got any punting stats for us?
I mean, Caden Burr from Bettendorf, best average of punts, 62.5. As for just straight up, it doesn't really give us a good straight up. Who leads in yards? Shout out Derek Weiskoff. He actually punts as well.
I know Grinnell's Carson Penich leads the state in punting yards at 560. I don't like saying punts total because that usually doesn't mean your offense is doing too hot. But 15 punts is the leading punt getter. How's the Mediapolis kid doing?
He's got averaging 45 yards. He's 10th, but he has 6 total punts. And his average is probably a little bit down because of how many times he's punted compared to these other guys. Like I'd realistically say he's second.
Yeah.
Derek Weiskoff's got him by a yard and a half about. So.
I mean, there you go. Punting is winning. Kicking is winning. There's your love to your kickers.
Okay.
Maybe we should have a kicker segment every week.
Big Iowa thing is kickers, so it's huge.
Yeah, it's an Iowa thing. I appreciate it. Thanks for the question. We're moving on to Isaac White, our man who helps us out with some photos. He wants us to talk. He just simply said, Kennedy passing game. Hard to defend. Could be dangerous if utilized. Vincenzo Gianforte, I think is his name. 751 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. But they ain't winning. They're 0-2 to start the year, but they're passing the ball like crazy. Paul, do you agree that – I mean, I agree too, but – if the passing game works and the defense starts figuring things out, I think that's the biggest thing. The passing game is fine. Nobody said the passing game is bad. I think it's the Kennedy defense that might need help.
Yeah. Gianforte took the leap that we kind of wanted to see from him to become a top dog out there. It's the defense. It's kind of holding them back. What are they averaging, like 35 a game, 34?
So they scored 21 against Dowling and 35 against Pleasant Valley. So 28. Simple math.
But I don't know. I think they're fine offensively. I think it's the defense. Yeah, I agree. With Isaac, their passing game is pretty lethal this year. Definitely more lethal than it's been in the past.
And that's the thing. Like, you get the defense figured out, you're going to be fine. I mean, 2 losses, I don't think you hit the panic button yet if you're Kennedy. But you'll talk about it. Big game this week. But you got to start winning, man. I mean, like, you've missed a couple opportunities here to start, like, to get going. You can beat the Cedar Rapids schools. We know that. Prairie might be interesting. But, I don't know. I agree the passing attack is lethal, and it's very good. I don't know where it ranks. I'd love to see, like, the yardage, not including 8-player, where he's at. But
probably really high.
Yeah, I was going to say. But, yeah, I mean, they're there. We're going to flip this question on its head or statement on its head. Just say, figure out defense if you're Kennedy, and I think you're going to be just fine. And they know that.
Number 1 in yard or number 2 in yards, number 1 in attempts.
Is that excluding 8-player?
No. So
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And number 6 in touchdowns. So yeah. Can he pass?
The offense is there, man. It's there. You just gotta put the rest together. Yeah. Thanks to Isaac for the selection. Sam _ Rain58 asks, what do you think of Xavier? This was I threw this in here because we talked about Williamsburg a lot on Monday. We didn't talk about Xavier a ton. I'm just going to start out with the fact that just because Xavier lost to Williamsburg, if it were up to me, I honestly wouldn't have moved Xavier out of the number 1 spot in Class 4A. And maybe that's just me. But
did they move?
Yeah, most polls ADM just jump right to number 1. We could talk about the Des Moines Register rankings if you want to, Paul. I don't want to do it, but I kind of want to do it. Anyway, okay. Just so I don't forget, go look at the Des Moines Register rankings for Class 5A. Come back to us. Tell us what you think. Just tell us. Tell us what you think. We have thoughts. And you'll have thoughts too. I think Xavier's going to be just fine. I don't think, well, I don't know. This week's tough. Xavier will still be fine. What do you think? Is Xavier in trouble, Paul?
No, I don't think they're in trouble at all. I think they're perfectly fine. I think that was a really good Williamsburg team, and we all knew that was going to be a dogfight from.
I went out. I didn't say it, but I was thinking. I'm like, Williamsburg could hang with Southeast Polk, maybe. I think it'd be decent for a half, maybe. But here's the thing. And if everything goes right, ADM, Cedar Rapids, Xavier in the championship game, I'd still take Xavier, man. Like, they're just good. And like this loss, they won't forget it. I mean, they will think about this. I feel so bad for Western Dubuque. That's a good Western Dubuque team. If Western Dubuque goes in and beats Xavier this week, okay, then I'm like, okay, maybe Xavier's not quite what we thought they were. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Xavier comes out and just takes care of business against the Bobcats this week. Again, bad timing for Western Dubuque to have to face Xavier. But, I mean, Ronan Thomas, he's still a really good quarterback, and they still got a lot of weapons on offense, and their defense is still pretty good. Like, I don't know, man. You just held one of the top high-flying offenses in the state to 21 points, and you only lost because you missed on a 2-point conversion. So, I don't know, man. I think they're fine. They're still the number 1 team in 4A to me.
Yeah, I think it's more of we found out a lot about Williamsburg than it is we found out Xavier's not it this year or something.
Yeah. It's just, it's just one of those things. But they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
We got, I'll just go DMI Rome. I totally didn't get it right, but he says, thoughts on Des Moines North having a wild amount of D1 prospects in the past 5 years. I didn't actually go back and look at who in the last 5 years, but I do know a couple. Like, I know I was putting together that Iowa State and Iowa graphic the other day, which I spelled Abusama's last name wrong because it auto-corrected. I felt so bad, but it already went out and I can't fix it. Anyway, he's right. Like, Des Moines North quietly puts out top-tier prospects. I don't know why. I have a couple. I mean,
I forgot.
It's a place that they can. What are you looking at?
Des Moines North moved down. I didn't know that.
To 4A?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Hoover or are you talking about North?
No, Des Moines North in our class filters in 4A.
I don't know if that's right. Maybe it's right.
Either.
Okay.
But,
well,
I mean, back to it. Yeah. They produce.
But why? Here's my guess. You got these kids that know that they might not play if they go to Dowling, and they might not play if they go to Southeast Polk or Valley. So they go to North. And the crazy thing is like, just because they have 5A prospects or top tier prospects, you'd be like, okay, are they really good every year? And you're like, well, they're fine, but they're not like amazing because they're so hit or miss. Like, I'm pretty sure most of them have been linemen for the most part, like maybe a couple defensive backs, whatever. Where did their running? Do you have any idea where their running back last year went?
Aaron, I believe he went. I'm not sure. I'm gonna find out.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a boom. Like, and I think that's what you're seeing is because these big schools are just getting better and better and better. The other kids are like, well, I don't want to go to the big schools. Like, I want to go play for Des Moines. I want to go play for these Des Moines schools. Can you imagine? I think it's still probably years away, but imagine when a Des Moines public school wins a state championship. It's happened. There's no way it hasn't happened. I can't go off the top of my head and look right now, but like how good that'll feel to say we finally beat. Granted, they're taking steps. Think about Roosevelt a couple years ago. Remember, beat Urbandale, first win against first time the public schools beat the big schools since 2007. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Either it was a long time. Like it was a really long time. I think it was like a 13-year drought. And Roosevelt finally beat Urbandale. Roosevelt finally beats the smaller schools. So I don't disagree. They're getting there. And like, I just watch out, man, because sooner rather than later, in the next 3 years, I bet we get 2 public schools in the playoffs.
To the Des Moines schools? Is that
Yes.
what you're saying? Okay, sorry. Yeah, you can see it. It's been close to happening. I mean, my senior year, I believe Lincoln was close to making it, and Roosevelt.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And honestly, Roosevelt will be close this year. Right there. Did you find out where Aaron went?
Did not find. I'm assuming a JUCO.
Let me look quickly. I'm looking at the phone at the to look at the North people went. So is it Devin Wilson? He's at Iowa. So that's one Des Moines North guy. Let's see. Who else?
David Cocker, Iowa State.
Yeah. Yep, Iowa State. Yeah. Yeah, they're getting there. I think they're getting there. The rise of the public schools is coming quickly. Tell your wife, tell your kids, tell your friends, be ready because the public schools are here soon. And I'm all here for it. We got Mike Rupp 1226. Pull up these stats, Paul, because I forgot to put them on here. Is Cherokee Washington legit? Cherokee Washington is 2-0. They play Ridgeview this week. I'm pretty sure they're heavy favorites. Like statistically, I think they beat out Ridgeview and everything. Are they legit? I don't know. Paul's going to look at their schedule real quick and tell me if they're going to be.
Their rushing totals are kind of ridiculous to start the year.
Okay.
15.2 yards per carry for their starting running back, 13 yards per carry for the other one, 9.5 for their other one.
Dang.
Yeah.
What's their schedule look like?
Is their thing. Let me check. Loading. All right, here we go. They got Ridgeview, Western Christian, Central Lyon. That's probably their.
So that's the game we'll figure out.
West Lyon. Right after that, Unity Christian, then Sheldon.
So 8-1 or 7-1 or whatever, however many games they play. We'll figure out who they are against Central Lyon.
They're in their district, so
yeah. Are they legit? I'd say maybe not championship legit, but could be a dark horse to make it to the final 8, maybe. The Elite 8, I guess. Yeah, sure. Is Cherokee Washington is legit? I'll say legit as in they're going to win 7 to 8 games. With that rushing attack, yeah. Quick question for you. When we pick games or whatever, and you're looking at stats, what do you value more, high running attack or high passing attack?
Depends on the class, to be honest.
So, okay, let's say 3A. Webster City's playing North Polk. North Polk, high passing attack. Webster City, high rushing attack. clash. Like, not really good at North Polk's not great at running. Webster City's not great at passing. Don't spoil who you picked, but I mean, just give me the thought process, what you think in that scenario.
I like our rushing attack better, especially in those lower classes, because easier for them up front to handle it, and it chews up clock. Usually when you get higher classes, you get better QB play, and that obviously we know, like in the NFL, it's the most important thing you can have. It's good QB play. Yeah, that's my thought process. I usually think about up front first before anything, how a team shapes up front.
So we're a little different in that aspect. I think passing is the way to go. After watching Harlan just change the game the last couple of years, a good rushing attack is really good. Trust me. But I just feel like the pass can open up a little bit more than the running game is, in my opinion. I go with passing.
State champs. Xavier, Sep. I look at the state champs.
Yeah.
Just say Xavier, Sep.
Yeah. Xavier under center. Wing T. Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, then I want under center play action to just become the best thing. I love that type of football.
Central line last year.
Yeah. That's what I go with. Also, after last week, I'm looking at experience more in my picks. If a team is all sophomores and they're really good, I'm taking the team that is juniors and seniors now.
Yeah.
Give me the kids that have been there a little bit. Not saying that a team of young kids can't go out and do it, but our picks are fun this week. Everybody kind of did a couple things different without spoiling.
Finally.
I can tell you right now, we all pick Southeast Polk, but that's just given. But yeah, everything else is different, so that's cool. I think all of us picked Grundy too. So, last question. Speaking of North Polk, I didn't even know. I forgot. C_Torres40 is North Polk a dome contender? Get back to me Friday at midnight, and I'll tell you. Basically, I want to see him against Jackson Cherry. If they can shut him down, which here's the thing, they did fine against Titus Cram. Titus only ran for like 101 yards. He caught 111, but the offense seems to be good enough to carry them decently far. I think this is the Carlisle of last year. You know how Carlisle just kind of snuck in last year, and we're like, how did Carlisle get here? I think this is the Carlisle of this year. So I'm going to say yes. I think North Polk can get to the dome.
Dude, they kind of have a cracked schedule.
They play ADM, don't they?
They play ADM last week this season. They have Humboldt after Webster City, Des Moines North, at Ballard, Indianola.
Dang. So talk about experience. Like, you're playing the best of the best. Boy, ADM week 9.
That sucks.
Who came up with that?
No benefit for them at all.
That's a playoff matchup. What are we doing? Someone's going to.
The playoffs are going to be set by then, practically.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I guess your RPI will move a tad. I don't know.
Yeah.
RPI drops on the 25th, by the way. We will be posting about that. There is possibly something on the horizon being in the works for rankings and whatnot. Paul and I will talk about it off camera, but we'll just stay tuned. We got cool stuff on the way. Paul, is North Polk going to the dome?
I just straight up don't know enough about the North Polk Comets, but I mean, we're gonna find out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get back to me on Friday. I'll give you a little bit of an answer, but we'll really figure out in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, nice stadium. I've been there a couple times. Giant cell phone towers make you dizzy just looking up at them.
Huge.
Okay, that's my thoughts. All right, let's go to our last segment. We always do our upset picks of the week. I'm 1-0, by the way. Don't mean to brag, but we didn't do one week 1 because we didn't have an episode. But last week we did one. I am currently 1-0 on my upset picks of the week. I picked Creston to beat Lewis Central. It happened. This week, I'm going to go down a couple of classes. Unfortunately, Linville Sully suffered an injury in the running attack and defensive attack. They were able to recover pretty nicely against North Mahaska. They ended up winning 48-0. family friend of mine, his son was the quarterback. Lucas Seek stepped in. Shout out Lucas Seek. I'm going to take Pleasantville to upset Linville Sully this week. Caleb Cook is very good. Like, we're talking definitely underrated, very good. That team is very good. Defensively, very set. Good offense, obviously, with Caleb Cook. This is a tough one for Linville Sully. I think Pleasantville could get the best of the Hawks here this week. So I'm going to go with Pleasantville as my upset of the week over Linville Sully.
Good pick. Got the research down. For me, I'm sticking with 5A. I've got Kennedy defeating Linn-Mar this week. I was talking about the spread earlier. They're 20-point dogs on BC Moore against Linn-Mar.
Hammer.
Yeah, I'm hammering the cover for the Cougars. I think with the Roscop getting hurt, that's huge for Linn-Mar in a negative way. I think Kennedy is playing desperate at this point. Like, they need wins to rack up for that RPI. They've got a good strength of schedule, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. I just think they're ready. I think their defense needs to get better, like bad, but I think they're set up pretty nice to them.
In the Gazette rankings, I think it was Eastern Iowa Schools in the 3 through 7 spot. So it was like Prairie, Cedar Falls, Linn-Mar, and then I can't remember who else they had there. Maybe Pleasant Valley. Eastern Iowa was there. It's just Southeast or Prairie is the only one that doesn't have a loss, and that might change this week.
Rankings are a war. I don't know how they're really hard to make this year based on.
Yeah, that's why we don't do rankings. But I think we'll figure out who Prairie is this week, and we'll talk about that in our preview tomorrow. But I still think Cedar Falls is the best Eastern Iowa team, especially with Gelhaus back. So excited to see those boys. Again, we got lots of what do you got?
I'm the most interested in Bettendorf, which is really off topic.
So tell me about this, Ben. What do you know about this? Before we get off, let's talk about Bettendorf for a quick second. What's with this?
I know a lot about Bettendorf. No, but I mean,
what do they got statistically?
Beat PV, who beat Kennedy. I'm doing the whole chain reaction win thing. But Urbandale, they've got Urbandale at home. That usually has been a decent game, but Iowa City West got beat by Urbandale, right?
Yep. I tell you, they're just beating each other up.
So if they go 3-0 here and then they get at Linn-Mar, I mean, they're shaped up like on a schedule. They don't have a lot of like losses. Kind of at the end of the year, they get. I mean, Kennedy, Prairie, and a City High at the end of the year is tough.
Oh, so we'll figure out how good they are.
Yeah, but they're gonna be. They could start out 5-0 heading into Kennedy.
And 5 wins.
I haven't watched film on them yet at all, but
5 wins is the magic number, kind of. If you get to 5, you're almost at a 75-25 chance to get in to the playoffs, I'd say. Mm-hmm. So, boy, that'll be fun. When RPI comes out, I love talking RPI. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's real. It's just numbers. So I'm excited for that. But, yep, that's all I got. A little longer episode than I thought we were going to get. But thanks to everyone for the questions. We really appreciate it. We will be back on Friday for your episode of your preview for week 3. It's going to be a fun week 3. Paul's going to be sitting at home watching from home, and I am at Southeast Polk for their first ever game at their new stadium. I saw the hype video today that they're going to play before the game. Ooh, top tier. Like, I'm talking top tier. Gives you chills. Like,
love that.
Very good. Very good. So, yeah. Thanks to everyone for listening, watching, following along. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot. And yeah, we will see everyone on Friday. Thanks for listening to Bound to Talk Football. We'll see you next time.